wave a magic wand and hope it'll all be all right. But comrades, first of all, I want to say that it's an absolute pleasure to be standing on a platform in solidarity with the National Shop Stewards Network. And I very much hope that this time next year, I'll be standing here in an official capacity. Clearly, the work that this organisation does in terms of highlighting the struggles of ordinary working people, of coordinating the work that we all do across the unions and fighting for a socialist programme is absolutely crucial. And I think it would be wrong of me to stand here, or remiss of me even, and not send solidarity to the brave workers in my own union who have faced the SHAC for undertaking trade union activity, fighting for thousands of members, sacked for undertaking their role as a trade union elected rep in both HMRC, Benton Park View, and also right here in Brighton in the pensions regulation. And I hope that this meeting will join with me in sending solidarity to those workers. Have already said, as Sarah says, you come down the line and you say it again, but hey, does it matter? Because we've got to say this time and time again, that this TUC is meeting, in my opinion, in a vital stage in the development and taking forward the aims and aspirations of ordinary working people. Here we are, only 1 month in after Starmer's Labour, which was elected, by the way, with only 20% of people supporting him, the lowest of any government since 1918, and less than 3 months in, we're already being signalled, and he's making it very clear, him and his new Chancellor, Rachel Cutting-Reeves, making the situation absolutely clear. And it is as plain to me as the nose on my getting older face that the austerity that we suffered under the Tories for decades is not going away. And the only reason that Labour can claim a landslide is because the Tory vote absolutely collapsed. And I think we all know that the majority of people voted Labour because they wanted to see off the Tories and not because they had much faith in this new government in terms of dealing with the problems that we all have to tackle day in, day out. The new government, headed up by Starmer and Reeves, have made it absolutely clear, in my opinion, that they will act in the best interest of British capitalism and not in the interest of ordinary working people. And that can only mean one thing in my book. That means the continuation of austerity, and it also means that the role of the trade union movement is absolutely crucial now in terms of how we respond to the attacks that have already started. But these people are not daft, are they? They've tried to buy us off already with the public sector pay announcements. But she has been clear, Rachel Reeves has been clear, that this is about silencing the working class in the context of the magnificent action that workers up and down the country, month after month after month, have taken on pay, on safety, on jobs and conditions. This minor concession is as a result of the brilliant work that's been taken on by the working class inside the trade union movement. But there is no doubt whatsoever that we cannot see this tiny victory in isolation. There is no doubt that the public sector pay announcements are a tiny concession, but we have a duty to explain to the workers that we are elected to represent what is possible if we unite around a programme, on a programme that protects jobs, that gets rid of all the things that Sarah and others have set out in their moving speeches, and the power of the trade union movement could have if we unite and fight for all the things that we care most about. But even the 22% set out and won by the junior doctors is not enough. It is not enough to take the junior doctors back to where they were before austerity was imposed. And in that same vein, the 5% bribe that has been given to health workers, to teachers, to civil servants might be a little bit more than we all expected, having faced decades now of austerity, of pay freezes and pay caps, that we all know that it goes nowhere near making up for all those cuts and freezes and the impact that these things have had over the last period. And on top of that, none of these pay rises are fully funded, that they are going to be funded by efficiency savings in inverted commas, and we know that that means cuts, and even more cuts. And there is no doubt that Starmer's Labour stands for increased workloads, deteriorating working conditions, and if we don't do anything about it, public services ending up in a worse state than they are now. And already in the civil service, it is coming out through the pay discussions that are taking place as we speak, that 5% does not really mean 5%, and pay offers are coming out on the table that is not tackling the ridiculous levels of low pay that we suffer across the civil service, let alone putting a 5% additional increase into our members' pockets. Reeves is already planning a harsh budget at the end of October. No extra money for local councils facing bankruptcy. No extra money to resolve the crisis in the university sector. More children into poverty as the 42,000 households hoping upon hope that they would destroy the two-child benefit cap really sets in and bites home. The fact that 10 million pensioners are being flung into poverty and affected by the removal of the winter fuel payment. They keep telling us that these people, they've made really hard decisions. Well, it's not as hard, is it, as trying to decide whether you want to put food on the table or buy your child a new pair of shoes. But the message, despite this, that union leaders must be taking into account now as never before, is that we now have the opportunity to unite together and fight. And there is no doubt in my mind that there are two strands of opinion that is already taking place at the top of the union. Those who, of the whole of the trade union movement, those who want to wait and see and hope that this new Labour government will produce what it needs. Well, let me tell you this. When has any worker got something without having to struggle and fight? And if there was ever a message that was coming out of this government as clear and crystallised as it is now, is that we are going to have to damn well fight for every concession that we get out of this government, whether it's the anti-trade union or whether it is. So there are those in the trade union leaders who want to wait and see, and those like me who believe that we must take the opportunity now. We should have taken the opportunity during the election period, and we should have taken the opportunity as soon as this new Labour government was elected. But we've still got time to put it right. That we need to take the opportunity now to build the struggle that we know will come on the back of all the austerity that this government are planning in the context of a huge and massive economic crisis that is not going to be solved without taking money from the rich and giving it into our pockets, the workers that make the money, the communities that hold up society, and the children that are our future. I've got 17,000 pages here, so. But this as well, just finally, because I will shut up now, this is the question that we all have to answer. I stand on the side of building the struggle now. And in many ways, that is the discussion that is taking place despite how it is addressed and dressed up to be by the old leadership inside PCS. Those who want to settle and welcome the 5%, welcome the little signals that are coming out of central government, and those who are now in the leadership of PCS, my own union, who believe that we need to build that fight now. Because we can sit around and wait for things to happen, and we can look at the wishful thinking mob and think, yep, that's the right way to go. But I'll tell you now that our responsibility as the lay elected people, as elected general secretaries, as leaders inside the movement, whether it be at a national level or a regional level in our office, is to set out to ordinary workers what we think the problem is, set out what we need to do and how we are going to do it. It is not our job to sow illusions in a government that is intent on imposing ruthless austerity. I believe fundamentally when we go out with a programme that tackles jobs, housing, racism, all the things that our members and the communities that we represent are saddled with day in, day out, that we build the confidence and the consciousness. The trade union movement can actually change and absolutely change the direction of travel of a single government. There are 6.5 million of us. Let's use us and let's build the support to solve the problems of ordinary working people. That's our task, comrades.